Well, well, well. It seems the YouTube gods have blessed some of you with finding this video, and I hope you enjoy before I even get into it. So, for the past about month, I've been going through a pretty consistent existential crisis, because of my utter stagnation as both a creator and a person. And strangely enough, to combat this, I have been deciding that every little thing that happens to me is not but a stepping stone in order for me to become better. A lot of this has been spurred on by me listening to Duncan Trussell talk about his experiences with psychedelics, and not only that, but just listening to him talk and, espouse his version of how he thinks things work, and all of the grand ideas that encompass his way of thinking. It's been very interesting and has, to a certain extent, made me want to try and experience the things he has, though not exactly. I want to try my best to get into the same mindset that he has, because existing is hard, man. This whole fucking waking up every day and, day-to-day existence is fucking tough, man. Sometimes shit sucks, but, the one thing that ties us all together is that we keep doing it. Every day we get up, every day we go to work, fucking school, whatever you've got going on, whatever your day-to-day is, and then after all of that, you come home, you do whatever, leftover work you have, whether if you're in school, you're doing homework and, studying or whatever. If you, have an actual job, maybe you didn't fucking finish that report your boss wanted on your desk by Friday. So, you gotta take Thursday night and really batten down the hatches and get to it. But, the thing that connects us all, despite the obvious that we're all human, is the fact that we keep doing it. We're still going, So this is entirely off topic, seemingly, for right now. However, I will circle back and I'll get to this again. The main thing I've gleaned from Duncan Trussell is to just stop worrying about shit. Just stop worrying about it, because it hasn't happened, Why sit here and obsess over the fact that one day you might not exist anymore when you're still decades out from that happening, man? You're fine. What are you so wrapped up in that's so important that excuse me, what are you wrapped up in that the end of your life is so important compared to the here and now, the things you can change? Because you can't change the fact that you're gonna die. As unfortunate of a sentence as that is, as scary as it is, because, we can't comprehend non-existence. One day we're gonna be gone, and what will remain? In the past, it was a lot more up in the air, Pre-internet, a lot of these things were up in the air, and most people will never be remembered. Unfortunately, there will be millions and millions of names lost to the annals of history to do nothing but serve as the backbone for someone's current existence. But the heavy hitters, you know, your Shakespeare, George Washington, King Henry VIII, Charlemagne, King of the Franks, all of these people could have wanted to be who they were because of a fear of being forgotten. But in the age of the internet, is there really such a thing as mortality? What I'm doing right now, anyone can look back on this. Anyone can look back at this decades from now and see who I was when I was 21 years old. It's the weird thing, man. It's, while I no longer live at a certain point, very, very detailed records of me do live on. Incredibly detailed, down to the fact that you can pretty much entirely replicate my personality through the content I've created if you really wanted to. In, let's say, 120 years' time, like my great-great-great-grandchildren want to know what I was like. They could train an AI based off of the content I made and replicate who I am right now. Right in front of them. Technically, it's not me, but for all intents and purposes, I live on through that AI learning algorithm of who I was. So, in a digital age, is it really even worth having an existential crisis of, one day I'm not going to exist, one day I'm not going to be around, you know, all of this? Yes, technically you won't be around. However, there will be very detailed records of the time you were around. Especially for people like me, content creators. Holy shit. There are moments in my life where I'm having a good time with my friends and going back and rewatching those moments puts the same fucking stupid smile on my face that was there when it happened. Because I'm actively reliving that moment as it occurred, exactly the way it occurred. Because there can be no errors in direct transcription of our conversation and of our, like, gameplay. So, this has not solved my existential crisis, but in fact, it's opened up a lot of avenues for new questions. Will we ever truly die? Are we on our way to, you know, creating an actual matrix where we can simulate our own lives while, in reality, mere moments have passed? Who knows? I don't know. A lot of these lofty questions have had me thinking quite deeply about what I really want, not only out of life, but after my death. Which I'm sure all of my wishes post-mortem will be ignored, because there is a phrase I enjoy greatly, which is funerals are not for the dead. They're for the living. It doesn't matter what the person in the coffin wanted after they died. It's no longer in their hands. It's up to their family to either respect their wishes or to attempt to send them off in a way that brings them comfort. My mom wants to be cremated and turned into live coral. And because of my immense respect for her, I will honor those wishes when she passes. But had she been absent or a abusive parent or anything else, and not the absolutely incredible individual that she has been for my entire life, who's to say that I would respect those wishes? Or would I just do the thing that brings me the most comfort, which is not to take the piece of live coral that used to be my mother and toss her into the ocean where she wishes to be for all of eternity, but instead to witness the shell that once housed my mother put into a wooden box and put into the dirt. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. I love my mom a lot, so thinking about the inevitable day that she passes on is very it hurts, man. I know that one day I'll want to have a conversation with her and she won't be there. It sucks, man. But, you know, the beautiful thing about life is that we die. If we lived forever, there'd be no point in, starting anything today. Even if we just keep, delaying our deaths through advances in medicine, there's still an end. So even though people live on average like 3 times longer than people maybe 100, 200 years ago, we still die. There will still be an end eventually. So there is still a reason to hustle and, learn what you want to learn, do what you want to do, get the job you want, marry who you want, blah, 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 blah. Because eventually that light goes out. Do we go somewhere? Who knows? That's the scary thing. It's why humans have created religion. It's why millions and millions and millions of people across the globe pray and hope with all of their heart and all of their might that there is something after all of this. And it's not up to me to decide whether or not there is something after all of this, but it is up for me to decide what I do while I'm here. And it's up to all of you as well. You guys are the main characters of your own life. There is no one in the driver's seat but you. And you know what? Eventually your exit's coming up. Eventually you're going to have to hop off the highway. And using that analogy, it means you're going somewhere else. You turn off the highway and eventually, find your way down some back roads and you're home. Or you turn off the highway, go get some food, stop at a restaurant, fucking whatever, man. But these are all things that I've, over the last month or so, started to find comfort in. It's strangely beautiful that it all ends. Because if it didn't, today wouldn't matter. Tomorrow wouldn't matter. 4 years from now wouldn't matter. 50 years from now wouldn't matter. 100 years from now wouldn't matter. There'd be no reason to push forward and try new things and figure everything out and make these immense marvels of technology and these grand advancements in medicine, because fucking what for? No one dies. We can eventually figure everything out just by trial and error. Sure, it might take millennia, fucking eons, for us to figure out literally everything the universe has to offer. But we could do it if we were immortal. However, the vast majority of us wouldn't even attempt to do that. We would live on with our immortality as these fucking slobs that just laze around and do nothing. Because inherently, humans are pretty lazy. Let's be honest. There'd be no lawsuits for companies cutting corners if they weren't lazy, right? Laziness is an inherent human trait. Everybody is lazy to certain degrees. But when you exacerbate that laziness over a lifetime, you know, you can't lounge around for 80 years and get anything meaningful done. Because that's most of your natural life. If you get real lucky, it's most of it. For a majority of people, that's all of it. That's everything, right? Is 80 years. But if you were immortal, lazing around for 80 years would be like an afternoon for us now. It'd be nothing. It'd be a drop in the bucket. Because when you have the entire ocean, right, the seeming great infinity of the ocean, and then you take a single bucket of water out of it, that's nothing. But when you have a kiddie pool and you take a bucket of water out of that, you've created a great difference. You've lowered the water level by a substantial amount, depending on how large the bucket is. So, our lives currently are the kiddie pool. If you decide to laze about for 15 years, you've taken a substantial chunk of your life and essentially just thrown it away, done nothing with it. But if you lived infinitely and you took 15, 20 years out of it, it'd be nothing. Comparatively, it'd be an infinitely small portion of your life. Because you will never die. So what does it matter? Why learn a language today when in 100 years from now, I'll still be alive? I can learn it then, you know, when it's changed and shifted and all of the slang has slowly become integrated into the language itself. And it's taken inspiration from the other languages around it and mixed and matched and blah, 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 and evolved over time until what we now recognize as like Spanish is a completely different language from the modern interpretation of it, you know? It's the same thing with, like, if Shakespeare was immortal, he would have seen the death of Old English and the rise of modern English, and he would probably be incredibly confused with how streamlined everything has been. Because Old English is very wordy, you know? Anybody who's read fucking Shakespeare, Hamlet... Did I just say Shakespeare? Hamlet? Hamlet is Shakespeare. God, I'm stupid. But anyone who's read Shakespeare, or René Descartes, or anyone who wrote in, like, Old English... René Descartes' French, but His papers were translated to English. They're in Old English. Fucking whatever, dude. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm rambling right now about existentialism, so cut me some slack. But all of these people would have witnessed the evolution of the language, and I'm sure been utterly confused by it, because it is an entire tonal shift in how the language is not only spoken, but written and interpreted. Everything is different. So, for an immortal, learning a language at any point must be a Herculean task, because not only do you have to learn the language now, you have to continuously learn it as it evolves and changes, and as it moves through time, and these subtle differences get weaved into it, you know? It'd be like walking into a carpet manufacturer, or a rug manufacturer, and changing one of the strings on the loom, just dyeing it a different color. Slowly throughout the process. Maybe it started red, and then halfway through you were like, I want it to be blue. And then a quarter more gets weaved together, and you're like, I'm feeling green. And you kept re-dyeing that singular piece of string every so often until by the end of it, when the rug is finally completed, you now have so many different strips of color going down the singular line that, in essence, it could have been however many different rugs. But if you look at it as a timeline, it's just the evolution of that singular piece of string. As you decided that you wanted it to be a different color, or you wanted it to change to fit the situation better, whatever analogy you want to tie to this, right? But man, I really am just rambling. I don't know. Existentialism is a very strange line of thinking to go down. And when you really get down to it, an existential crisis is very selfish. Because it's imagining that you are the single most important person in the world, because your death will be so radically different than the millions and millions of people who've died before you. It doesn't matter. It's all right. Everybody does it. It's okay. Eventually, there will come a day where you go. And it'll happen to all of us. And though it'll be unfortunate, you know, smile because it happened. Don't cry because it's over. Make the most of your time here. Because if it really is all we've got, you don't want to die with regrets. Anyway, I appreciate you guys listening to my unhinged and barely intelligible rant about my existential crisis and the various lines of thought that kind of worked me out of it. If you like this style of video, let me know, because I do want to make more. In fact, I've had this idea in mind for several different videos after figuring out that my mic arm perfectly stretches to my bed. So I am working on a Dark Souls video essay. That'll be out when I finish writing the script. And also, I am pretty much always recording when I'm playing games. Just in case something funny happens, at least I have something, right? I can throw together like a unused clips video and throw it out there. But this is all besides the point. Appreciate yourselves. Appreciate the people around you. Life's too short. Life's too short for you not to tell the people around you that you love them. That's my biggest takeaway from this. That's really what I want you guys to take away from this the most. You know, because modern society, at least in America, is all about, you know, being tough and being hard and nothing phases me. I eat nails for breakfast, no milk. But in reality, the toughest and the strongest people are those who allow themselves to be weak. If you disagree, you disagree, and that's entirely fine. In fact, I invite you to disagree if that's what you want. If you truly feel a different way about it, go for it, man. I don't mind. It's the magic of all of us being alive, you know? I can see something and you can see the same thing, and we can have two completely different ideas on it. But realistically, we're probably going to arrive to a similar conclusion. But genuinely, if you do take one thing away from this rant and rambling of existentialism and the fact that, you know, this reminder that you're going to die, sorry about that, by the way, truly, do tell the people around you how much they mean to you. Even if they are, like, my friends have been with me for as long as I can remember, and I will never miss an opportunity to tell them I love them, because they deserve to know. Nothing weird about it, man. The end of the night when we're all winding down, getting ready to hop off of Discord and, you know, go to bed, tell the homies you love them. It'll be weird the first couple of times, trust me, it will. But you know what? It'll all be better for it. You never know what someone's going through, and you know, those 3 words might actually change someone's mind. No matter how made up they thought it was, you know? Letting your homie know that you love them, you care about them, might change it. They might think about not suck-starting their shotgun tonight. As fucking morbid as that is, like, you know, like I said, life's hard, man. This whole existing thing, it's tough. And it'll only get harder. But, you know, as they say, hard times create strong men. So, you know, get out there. Suffering is just part of it. We all have bad days, man. It's alright. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with falling down. There is a problem with staying down. Always gotta get up. Gotta keep going. Nothing's gonna change if you don't keep trying. No matter how many times it feels like you're just bashing your head against the same brick wall, eventually that wall will break. It'll crumble. Because you just kept at it. Nothing you can't do, man. Anyway, I think that's enough for me. I appreciate you watching this. I appreciate you as a person. If you want more, let me know in the comments. Thank you. I love you. Goodbye.